driver wanted on possible assault with a deadly weapon leads LAPD on dramatic chase in the Reseda neighborhood.
LAPD had been tracking the suspect for a short time through the Topanga area and has now re-engaged this suspect, especially once he slowed down there. They saw an opportunity to try and get him off the road. They're looking for any opportunity to pit that suspect or possibly even set up for a spike strip if the opportunity presents itself. But right now, as you can see, a little bit too busy on these surface streets as he comes westbound now on Satakoy off of Brothel Road, just west of Tampa Avenue, now going in the opposite direction, tinted there, difficult to see through that driver's side window. Again, once they pull up behind him, he has shown signs of really stepping on that gas pedal. However, that vehicle is not extremely capable of very fast speeds, does not accelerate terribly fast, but certainly fast enough to exceed the speed limit and certainly fast enough to do some damage if anybody gets in the way of that vehicle. And as you mentioned, there are people out and about on this Tuesday afternoon, and you can see just the traffic here on these surface streets is proving to be an issue here. So he is continuing to find gaps. He's continuing to accelerate away from LAPD when they pull up right behind him, but then he manages to slow down once he puts a little bit of distance between them. At one point, he was really trying to squeeze through on some of the shoulders, going through traffic lights. So he is showing signs of aggressiveness. We certainly do not know what the actual mental capacity is, but we do know that they are suspecting DUI here as one of the charges. So again, doing about the speed limit, maybe a little bit above the speed limit, northbound on Winnetka Avenue here. He has done a complete loop here in this part of the valley. He started over in the Topanga division, which is where they started this pursuit, and now he's making his way all the way over here. He's now straddling that double yellow line, oncoming lanes of traffic here, looking for any opportunity to evade those units. Oh, close call, close call. That's right, the airship is continuing to track from above. They are now in tracking mode, as you mentioned. That just means those ground units are going to pull back. They're going to give him a little more breathing room. They have seen behavior behind the wheel that is a little too aggressive for their liking. Again, this all comes down to the decision of the supervisor and the watch commander back at base who is watching this pursuit on television and talking to these units. You can see the airship still right overhead. Those black and whites are not too far behind. So even though they're putting less pressure on him, tracking mode still involves a lot of units and a lot of cooperation to triangulate and be in position if and when he comes to a stop or tries to bail. Maybe he will dump the vehicle and go running for it, or maybe he will give up peacefully. You never know. It always is a game of cat and mouse, and now, just like that, they have given the order to go ahead and re-engage. So just in the last 20 or 30 minutes, this has been in and out of tracking mode and pursuit mode several different times already, and now they are back in pursuit mode, and he certainly is showing signs of trying to desperately get away from those black and whites. Really, you could see that behavior. You could see it visually in the difference behind the way the vehicle is behaving. You can see the way he is behaving differently and starting to speed up once again. Yeah, this is the problem. Now, yeah, well, if there's any opportunity for a spike strip, they have already given the go-ahead for that spike attempt if they see it. However, the speeds here, look at him doing just a moment ago, about 70 miles per hour on Winnetka Avenue. Now he's slowing down. Here comes a possible pit attempt, but there is cross-traffic here. There is oncoming traffic. This is not the best place for it, but there it goes. A live pit maneuver right there into oncoming lanes of traffic, a textbook pit maneuver with now the suspect and that unit face to face. All three units coming to a stop here, officers with their guns drawn and the driver popping that door open. Let's be very careful here with this shot. We are ready for anything, but if he pulls out any kind of a weapon, we will be zooming out very rapidly. You can see them pointing their guns at that driver. commanding him out of the vehicle after a textbook pit maneuver, activating that inertia switch and flipping that car 180 degrees in the opposite direction, now ending up on the southbound side of Winnetka Avenue here in Chatsworth, where they are giving that driver very specific commands to stay a little bit closed in here as he tries to restart this vehicle. Again, not complying with these cops. Yeah, he's definitely looks like he's got something in his hand. He appears to be alone in the vehicle. That 5-minute mark is going to come up many times in the after-action debrief of this pursuit. I can guarantee you that. There were 5 full minutes there where they tried to get the suspect out verbally without shutting down that intersection, which in most cases would have been shut down by now. But in any event, they can address that later. The pursuit is back on. We now have 5 black and whites in tow here as he could attempt a weak attempt at that. I don't know how he missed that. I don't know what's going on here, guys. This is very unusual to see LAPD in this position. But they have now swapped out primary units, a new unit taking over this pursuit as he continues at a snail's pace through this neighborhood here. Here comes pit attempt number 3. They are committed to getting this guy off the road. They have to now for the median, and now on the correct side, here comes pit attempt number 3. Another pit attempt, a failed attempt at that, and the pursuit continues. This is wild. Every time. Absolutely. But every time they approach him, every time they spook him, whether it's a pit maneuver attempt or just pulling up behind him like this, even if he's not going to attempt the pit maneuver, they're increasing the adrenaline. Out of pursuit and tracking mode. We saw several pit maneuver attempts. We saw some very aggressive driving, very erratic driving, putting lots of lives in danger before ending up here in Chatsworth at Superior Street and Lurline Avenue, where he casually... World News. Driver standing up. Yep. Now showing signs of giving up here, still not raising his hands, but at least he's out of the vehicle. He's on both feet, looking inside the vehicle with his hands by his side. Unclear if there's a language barrier here or not, but they are talking to him, they are communicating with him, and they desperately want to see him put his hands in the air. They are by his side. He is said to be armed with a knife. That was preliminary information that they were working with during this pursuit. Now stepping away from the vehicle, hands on his head, and now it appears he is willing to surrender.
About 5 minutes later, the suspect stopped the vehicle in the area of Plummer Street and Cosacroft Street. He was seen opening the driver's side door and drinking from a water bottle, at one point communicating with officers who were drawing their weapons. Shortly after 3:30 p.m., the suspect exited the vehicle and complied with officers' orders to get on the ground while they searched the vehicle. A red object was placed on the street next to the vehicle as evidence. The driver is wanted on a charge of possible assault with a deadly weapon, police said.